It is so great seeing my next guest back in action. February 5th, UFC Fight Night. She's going to be taking on Julija Stoliarenko. It is Alexis Davis joining me here on the program yet again. Alexis, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking. Not everyone asks how I'm doing. I always appreciate that. But it's been a while since we've seen you in the cage. You last fought in June. What's been the reason for the layoff for people who might not know?
Oh, well, unfortunately, I had to have surgery on my hand. So I kind of was out for a little bit. I wanted to fight a little bit sooner than scheduled. I was hoping to fight at the end of December, but, you know, UFC's been so busy. They said they were so booked up lately that, you know, the earliest they could get me was February. So, you know, you take it as they come.
I was going to say, yeah, hand surgery is a pretty good reason to be out. How long were you out for with the surgery, and when were you able to actually get back to training full time?
Well, if anyone knows me, they know me. I don't take time off. I still got one good
So you're
hand,
Wolverine, basically, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, so I still have one good hand. So there's always things you can work around when you have injuries. You know, I'm that type of person who has a hard time taking time off to begin with, because I just feel like a sloth, and you just feel blah if you're not doing something.
I can relate. Even if I miss a day at the gym, I feel like I haven't done anything that day. And I can only imagine with you, I mean, you do this as a living, so I can only imagine how frustrating that must have been. Are you a little bit surprised that the UFC hasn't made more of a priority to book you in fights? And the reason I bring that up is because, you know, you've been with the UFC for a long time. You're a notable fighter. You've fought for a title. And I know this is something we talked about last time of just, you know, I know the cards fill up, but also you'd think you get a little bit of priority considering how long you've been with the promotion.
I feel very blessed that, you know, like I've been through so many ups and downs in my career. I've had a whole child within my career, and, you know, they've always treated me great. You know, I know that, well, with right now compared to like when I first started, like the rosters have become huge. So I know they've got to kind of make room for everybody. So, you know what, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I would have liked to, but I'm a chill person, you know. I'm just happy to enjoy this part of my life where I just get to work out all day and fight for a living.
Exactly. And by the way, a very Canadian answer there. I like it. You know, God, we got to keep up that moniker. We're nice people, right? So there we go. It's never fun talking about a loss, but obviously your last fight against Pannie Kianzad, not the result you wanted. You've had lots of time to think about it. What did you sort of take away from that performance?
I knew the risk of going in, taking the fight on a little bit shorter notice. It was a little bit heavier than I would like to have been. It was, unfortunately, took it only a week after my niece had passed. So, there was a lot of factors that kind of played in, but, you know, those are just adversities of the fighters that you have to go through. There was, a lot of things that I worked on, you know, even throughout surgeries and that I, you know, looking back with my coaches, that things I should have capitalized on, opportunities I should have done, you know, different positions, and, you know, even my footwork. So just that's the beauty of fighting, just forever growing. Like, you're never going to have the same opponent.
Yeah.
Well, say that after I fought Kaufman 3 times.
That's true, yeah.
You know, but she wasn't the first Kaufman that I fought, you know, prior to that. So everybody's changing, everyone's adapting, you know. That's just something you have to grow, and just learning and experience being a better fighter from the losses that I've had.
There you go. Okay, very well said. Let's talk about your opponent here. 9-5-1 record. What do you know about her? How do you feel like you match up against her? A former Invicta champ.
Yes, yeah. She kind of reminds me of a lot of myself, like in the sense that I feel like she's very much a brawler, and she's got good ground. You know, it reminds me, you know, especially a lot of, you know, back in my younger days, that she's always game. Like, she comes in, you know, trying to add pressure, you know, pushing the pace, and, you know, that's just different things. And, you know, I mentioned before, working a lot on my footwork, and, you know, just adding in hopefully a little bit more, you know, wrestling and level changes, and just being, you know, just being a little bit, I don't want to say trickier, but, you know, just kind of changing things up, you know, kind of keeping your opponent on edge.
This is something we talked about in the Sabina Mazo fight. Experience. I mean, usually most of the fighters you compete against, you have more experience, not only in fights, but also just in, you know, the level of opposition you fought. Do you feel like that will be a factor in this fight?
You know, that's, you know, that, you know, I think that's a great question, you know, especially like, I don't know, I've been in this sport for so long that, you know, but everybody kind of, you know, it depends. I think it kind of really depends on your opponent, you know, whether they still feel that, you know, sense of, well, we're in the Apex Center too. So it's a little bit smaller arena. I know sometimes when you have those big lights on you and you're not kind of used to that, that's you know, that's a lot of pressure, like, especially if you're not used to it. But, oh my God, I don't know. Sometimes I got to still Google myself to see how many fights I've had.
That's true. Yeah.
To see how long I've been doing this. I'm like, what? I don't even know what day it is. But, you know, that's always a factor when you are not, especially if you're not used to the ring size. And, you know, sometimes the ring is a little bit bigger depending on whether you're pay-per-view, whether you're, you know, in like the Apex or in the Fight Night cards. But you know what, I think it all comes down to your mental preparation, whether you've been doing this for 10, 15 years, whether you've been doing this for 3, you know.
Okay, very well said. I always try and, you know, peep out your social media and kind of see what you've been up to. I know at your gym, there's not a lot of sort of household names, a lot of up-and-comers, but how much of a benefit is that where you're getting fighters that are, you know, still trying to prove themselves and they're going to give it their all? There's no egos. There's no like, you know, I'm better than you, I'm going to show up late. How you know, valuable is that getting to work with a lot of younger fighters?
Well, it's great. Well, we don't have as many well-known MMA fighters, but we got a good house of a lot of like Muay Thai champions.
For sure, yeah.
You know, not just our, you know, our homebred Muay Thai fighters, but like we get a lot of fighters that come in and still venture out from other gyms, and we've been able to have that great experience level, but also having like those up and because they're hungry, man.
Yeah.
Those young, and you know, we've kind of created a great atmosphere where you know we've able to keep everybody's ego in check, but you know they're still going to work hard and still going to push you. It doesn't matter if you know you're fighting for the UFC or you know maybe it's your amateur debut or you're doing a PKB. That you know everybody's trying to help everybody, and you know that's what the gym should be about.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And that's why I always bring it up, because I often hear fighters say, you know, sometimes the best looks I get are those amateur fighters that are, you know, still green and a little bit, you know, kind of fearless, but they're also going to push you in training, right? And that's really important when you're getting ready for a fight, that you're getting those really, you know, you're getting those challenges in the gym, right?
And I think sometimes there's a lot to do with, you know, maybe just, and you see this throughout, you know, all over the place, you know, you have incredible fighters out there, just haven't had that opportunity yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they're just as good or even better than fighters that you see out in like these big name cards out in the UFC or in Bellator or anything like that. They just haven't had those opportunities yet, and they're still growing. Yeah,
very well said. Kind of on that note, who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
I'm going to have John Hurdy, who's been on my corner for the last few fights, and Darren, but God, I don't even know. He's been there for a while.
Okay, fair enough.
And my buddy Lucas, he's actually fighting this weekend. So he's putting all the work. He's been, you know, I'm very fortunate that he comes around and he's been able to help me and still focus on what he has up and coming too. Very cool.
How do you envision this fight playing out on February 5th?
Oh man. You know, I have envisioned it so many different ways, but no matter what, it just ends up with my hand raised.
There we go. But is there anything, let me ask you this then, you know, we talked about the layoff off the top. Actually, she's got a layoff too, come to think of it. You both have been out for a bit. Is there anything you're looking to maybe display in this fight or showcase? Or is it just, you know, I know you're always working on everything, but is there maybe one thing in this fight you're hoping to show everyone that we haven't seen you been doing in the gym?
Man, I just want to finish. That's all I want to do.
That too. Yeah, you don't get paid by the hour, so I'm sure, you know, get in and get out, right? So that's kind of a key
that's
thing
all I want is I just want to finish in this fight. You know, I don't want it to end up going to the judge's decision. You know, I want to make my stamp.
Awesome. How many more fights do you have left on your contract? I was wondering that.
I got one more fight left. So
this is it. Okay.
We'll go from there.
So is it, because I know sometimes fighters will do, they have 2 fights left, so they'll fight the one and then they have 1 left and they renegotiate in the last one. Is that the case, or do you just have, is this your last fight on the 5th?
Well, you know, I'm going to kind of see how this plays out, whether, you know, I'm hoping like, you know, and it's really not to my skill level. I just got to see mentally where I am. But I'm hoping to still, you know, I've still talked to them and still branching off. But you know, I'd love to still be able to, you know, push forward and fight for them. So we'll see. We'll see how it comes off. I want to see, you know, it's harder the more you do this. Like, you got to make sure you still got it.
For sure. No, absolutely. So yeah, just to clarify, this is the last fight on your contract, or do you have 2 left? Like, is this like the February 5th fight? Is that your second last fight or your very last fight on the contract?
Oh, I'm going to have one more left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. Usually when fighters say that, it's like, yeah, I kind of figured that was the case. And are you negotiating and talking with the UFC on your own, or do you have a manager?
I do have a manager. So, you know, because, man, I can't.
I was going to say, you got enough going on. You're a mom, you got, you know, all this stuff. Yeah. No, I get it. I got 2 kids, so I completely relate to that. Just 2 more quick questions. I was, you know, every time I do an interview, I always like to get, you know, some interesting tidbits and, you know, checked out your social media and all this. And I Googled your name. I didn't realize this because I don't watch daily soap operas. Did you know there's a General Hospital character named Alexis Davis? Are you aware of this?
I am very aware of that.
Okay, sorry to bring it up. I bet it's annoying. You know, it's like that Michael Bolton thing in Office Space, right? So.
No, I used to, you know, and that used to come across a lot. I don't know. Is that character even still around anymore?
I don't know. I just Googled it and it kept like, there's these results for General Hospital. And I was like, what is this? Yeah. And then I looked and it's like the actual character's name. And like, she's apparently a murderer. So kind of goes with fighting a bit. You're not trying to actually kill someone, but you're trying to inflict harm, right? So.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that used to come across a lot, like earlier on. I always come up with like General Hospital, and
okay.
I was like, yeah, I think that character's been around for a while. So I was like, I don't know if she's still around anymore, or if she's still.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I just noticed it, so I guess I'm late to the party on that one.
I haven't watched daytime TV in a while. I don't even know if General Hospital's still kicking around.
Yeah, no, for sure. And obviously, last question. You know, we're both Canadian. Do you still keep in touch with your family in Canada? Have you been back to Canada? I know with the pandemic, it's been very difficult. Like I know in my case, I can't even go to the U.S. right now because it's so difficult with all the restrictions. How's it been for you and some of your Canadian family?
Yeah, I did make it back last year. You know,
oh, cool. Okay.
Everything going on with my niece. Unfortunately, yeah, my mom was gonna come down and help me for this fight, but the same case, she's like, with all the restrictions and everything going on. So I'm hoping, you know, well, and it's a lot different now. Like, you know, you have kids that, well, usually I'm just like, okay, I'm going to pack my bags after I'm done this fight. I'm going to go home. But I'm like, oh, wait, I got a kid in school now.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Yeah.
So, you know, fingers crossed, hopefully everything kind of clears up with, you know, COVID and everything like that I can make it back for the summer.
Yeah, because the issue right now, at least from what I know, is that it's this PCR test. Like, even if you're vaccinated, you still have to get this test, and it's like $200 US or something if you're in the United States more than 24 hours, I think. I think that's the case. Obviously, I'm not a government guy. I'm here doing interviews, but that's one of the reasons I haven't bothered. That and the quarantine, like I got 2 kids, so it's kind of tough if I can't see them, right? So.
Yeah. Well, even like when I went back, last year now. I'm trying to remember what year it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, like having to quarantine when we got there, you know, it's hard to restrain a child in like a small confined area.
Oh, I know. And getting them to wear a mask on the plane is tough too. We just went back, my wife's from Toronto. We went back there for the holidays. Both my 4-year-old had to be masked and he hated it. So I can only imagine, you know?
Yeah. Same thing. And my son's 5. So yeah, it's, you know, a struggle even in the schools for them to wear it, but
there you go.
What are you gonna do? Keep hoping to see the end of this, but
hopefully. In the meantime, we can watch some face punching. February 5th, UFC Fight Night. Alexis, thanks so much for doing this. Always appreciate the time. If there's anyone you'd like to thank or any sponsors you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
You know what? Big shout out to, of course, the guys over the Resistance, my team over there. You know, everybody at Functional Muscle Fitness, and to Lean Feast, to NutriShop, to Lena's Egg Whites. You know, just huge support all around. You know, my fighters we got fighters coming up this week. I think we have every weekend we got somebody coming up. So, you know, big shout out to them and thanks to everybody.